I'm sure we all know that we have seen different cases where people protest, against things they care about. This is on housing. I'm a people's person, right? And I understand the potency when people come together to speak in one voice. And it should not be ignored. If you haven't watched the past episode, please kindly go and watch it so that you can understand and follow us on this series. I had made some recommendations about how the public sector can implement some of the ideas. On this episode, I am going to be highlighting on the role of the private sector in helping to reduce the cost of rent. We have some of the producers of different building materials, and this fall under the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN. And then we have the Nigeria Port Authority. Nigeria Port Authority are supposed to be responsible for clearing of goods and the fixtures of import duties, which has to be reviewed because a lot of these building materials are largely dependent on imports, right? And then we have the FIRS. The FIRS is supposed to ensure to enable the real estate industry have some tax incentive, because right now is not the time in Nigeria where we will be increasing taxes across board. Some sectors that the people largely depend on must have some form of relief, considering the fact that we have recently removed fuel subsidy and we have also floated in Naira. So it's quite very difficult at the end user to be spending more, especially out-of-pocket expenditures can be very crazy. Because in Nigeria, we still do not have a proper credit system that can enable different brands create products that people can pay over time. Another stakeholder we should be more light on will be the commercial banks. The Nigerian commercial banks must begin to develop products that include moratorium as part of their credit facility, so that the investors who access this financing can have ample time before they start servicing their loan. This will enable young people, especially those who fall within the cadre of not being able to afford exorbitant prices for their rent. It's important that the financial institutions in Nigeria become more responsible in helping to respond to the current realities of Nigeria. Also, another stakeholder we must look into is the CBN. The CBN must prioritize FX availability to businesses, ensuring that they meet the housing deficit. Nigerian housing deficit is estimated at 28 million. So it means that we need 28 million houses to meet our current demand for housing. And it's important that the government must respond to that, and not the government building houses. The government should make the ease of doing business to be more friendly, and people, investors can leverage the opportunities to reduce the cost of housing. So as part of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, we have some very key stakeholders, especially in cement production. You have the likes of Dangote with BUA, you have the likes of FAD. Kudos to BUA, by the way. BUA understands our current economic situation, and BUA has shown up to help Nigerians reduce the cost of procuring cement. And this is an essential commodity in the real estate industry that we must applaud BUA. And as much as possible, other cement production companies like Dangote and Lafarge should come up with mechanisms to also reduce the cost of these resources, making it available for people, especially real estate and housing developers, to have access at a reduced cost in producing and meeting the housing deficit of Nigerians.